Power of sisterhood.
Are you ready for us?
This is Comadres Unfiltered. ¡Salud!
Estamos en vivo y a todo color. ¿Me escuchan? 1, 2, 3, probando. 1, 2, 3.
¿Nos escuchan?
Sí.
Hola, hola,
So,
hola.
yes, we are live, comadritas. I am so excited. Comadritas listening or watching while they're cooking. Hopefully not while they're driving. Or maybe yes, right? They just kind of like not turn around. We don't want to cause an accident. It just means the world to us that you stopped your world, literally, to be here with us and hang out on such a special episode. We are doing a live. It's our second live, girls.
It is.
Estoy nerviosa, pero son emociones bonitas.
It's exciting.
If people only knew what we've been through the last few days with this beautiful podcast room, we've done some, what should we call it?
Some changes,
Upgrades?
little upgrades.
Yes. Upgrades that have to do with logistics and technology. You shall never know. Or do you think they'll know? Will they ever find out?
It's the magic of Hollywood.
It's the magic of Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
But I'm so excited. Okay, so this is it, comadritas. Start preparing your questions because we have a special episode with a very special person. It would be our official first author today on Comadres Unfiltered.
Yes.
So excited about this.
But even though we're super excited, I'm a little bit nervous. Now, if you all read the first book of the book club, Comadres, Libros, and Lattes,
That's right.
there is one special mention of, many special mentions of the spiritual side of us Latina women.
Yes.
Cuando estamos felices, le agradecemos a Dios, right? When we're worried, también rezamos rosarios, ¿verdad?
Yes.
Así que, I know, comadrita, we were praying before this live so that everything doesn't fall apart and we're able to connect with you till the end. But I love what Coma Mindy prays every time we're about to do something exciting.
Cuando nos persinamos.
Yo digo,
Se vuelve chilanga.
Estilo fresita, ¿no? En el
sea,
medio del
hello.
papi, del hijo y de la palomita buena onda.
¡Ay!
O sea,
me tapo un ojo, me tapo el otro y nada que ver. No, honestly, I love that in this book, we hear about this very important character that was part of our lives for many, many years if we watch TV. Primer Impacto. So, we always have a candle here, but we're going to blow this one out. Y vamos a prender una veladora de verdad. So
because
hold
we're
on.
not superstitious, right?
No, but we
are
want to
not
make sure that
superstitious.
all the connections actually
so
go through and do
Mexican
not fall
here.
apart.
Such
So
a
we have two
Mexican
choices.
moment.
We either have
Órale.
veladora
Latina moment.
Walter Mercado,
Walter.
Walter Mercado veladora,
Oh my God, I love
it.
Here, let me hold that for you, Comis.
or
¿quién más?
or Divino Niño Jesús para que todo salga bien.
Claro, pero juntos mejor. Más
Juntos mejor.
poderosos.
So,
Sí,
if
sí.
Tita is watching us already, she'll know why we pulled out the Walter Mercado
yeah.
candle.
Con mucho
Amor.
Así que, a ver, deténme a Walter Mercado. En paz descanse, Walter
Sí.
Mercado nos está acompañando, pero esto es para que todo salga bien.
Walter's going to be on fire right
He's
now.
gonna be on fire.
He should have been one of our guests.
¿Verdad?
Imagine.
Y
He's
¿saben
going to
qué?
be with us in spirit, I'm
Claro
sure.
que sí.
Oh,
Y
yeah,
más
for sure.
poder, el divino niño Jesús para que todo
Ese
salga
siempre.
bien.
¿Y dónde lo
Ahí
ponemos?
está.
A ver, ¿dónde lo
Ahí
ponemos,
está.
Comis? ¿Acá
Ahora sí
abajito?
podemos empezar a arrancar.
En la
Hagan
mesita,
oraciones,
¿no?
comadritas. ¿De qué esquina ponemos a Walter Mercado para que siempre esté
Amén.
presente?
Walter over here.
Walter Mercado está presente.
Walter.
Y el divino niño
The
Jesús.
spirit of technology, the way Mexicans
Yes.
make it work.
Hey, and Latinos in general, ¿verdad? Prende la veladora
Listen.
para que todo salga bien.
Para que todo salga bien.
sí.
Here we go.
Anyways, welcome to this live episode again to
Yes.
Comadres Unfiltered podcast. Comadritas, if you read this book, dímelo cantando, ¿verdad? Dímelo cantando.
Dímelo
Cantando,
cantando.
chica.
Chico. Ah.
I want you to start sending your questions because this is the time, the opportunity that we've been waiting for to actually talk to the author, Tita Ramirez. So start literally chiming in.
Yes, we
because there
wanna hear
will
from
be
you.
a part of this live episode where we do really want to read your questions for you. So pónganse a trabajar porque ahora sí que el tiempo es oro y se va a ir volando la hora.
And it's going to be super interactive.
Yes.
I mean, we're so excited for two reasons. One, because all of you guys are here. All our Comadrita tribe is here joining us today. And second of all, we have this amazing author.
Yes.
She's incredible. I love this book. I devoured it within 2 weeks. And I can't wait to connect.
It took me 3 days.
Really? How fast did you read it, girl?
Girl, it's all about the audiobook.
Right?
All about the
Audiobooks.
audiobook.
That's
So,
right.
I'm glad that you bring that up because I want to thank Janet for coming up with the brilliant idea of starting a book club. I got to be honest, I have not picked up a book. I don't even know when was the last book I read from beginning to end.
And that makes me so sad.
I know, because, working moms, we're always on the go. For me, reading a book, I'm going to say it right now, it's a luxury. Because for me to sit down and read a book, it's like, el quehacer ya se hizo. I already, the kids are already doing their thing. Like, everything's already in order. But life is hectic. So for me to find that window to just relax, grab a glass of wine or a cup of latte or
That's
something, un
right.
cafecito, and to pick a book, it takes a lot. So the fact that you just said, let's do a book club and let's start reading this book. Andaba en chinga leyendo este libro. I have never read a book in 3 weeks. Like, that is.
So you actually read the book? It wasn't Audible. It was
the
the
thing
actual
about
book. Wow,
me. I
interesting.
really miss reading books. I think the last time I would read books, college for sure was obviously part of it, and then when I was single. But I really lost the time to read books, and I know that now with working moms, it's all about audiobooks. But there's nothing like grabbing a book. I'm like, no, I ordered it on Amazon. I got the book. And I'm very old school, girls. Like, I literally do little notes and I literally do
love that.
highlights.
Oh, wow.
Like, this is how I read.
love that.
That's why it takes forever.
Yes.
My husband
It's like
says,
she's
This is-
scrapbooking, huh?
yeah.
But with a book.
my husband says, this is why you take forever to read a book.
And it looks like you're in school. Like, are
I
you going to take a
know,
test or
I know.
something?
Girl, I got questions for Tita. She's got so
Yes.
many things to respond to. I'm still in shock of many things that I read in
know,
this book.
see?
But you know what was important, and this is something important to say. It doesn't matter how you consume the book. If you consume, it's not cheating. An author just wants their story to be told and to be heard.
Same.
You know, and
Exactly.
so if you heard the story, that is amazing. And a lot of us moms are on the go. So
Yeah.
a lot of the books that I even consume are in audiobooks as well. Libby, if anybody doesn't know,
Yes.
Libby is the public library Audible, essentially, and it's free. And so, through that app and through Audible and other places, you can actually listen to a lot of books. So, yes, you're foregoing your music, but you're listening to some incredible stories.
I know. I've been missing
Right?
out.
I love it.
I have to try the audio. I still feel like I need to be loyal to the book because I like to keep them too.
Yeah.
Just have it in the library.
Yeah.
But Janet, because let's see, the last live we were introducing the book club concept, and in our last live you talked about the title. So I'm going to ask you before we dive into the conversation with Tita and many of you comadritas already connected, what is it about this book that told you this has to be the first book pick for Comadres, Libros, and Latte Book Club?
I mean, because you read so many books.
Exactly.
Jessica.
You know,
I mean,
I
you
s-
consume a lot.
I've consumed a lot of books, and especially since the pandemic, I've shared it before. It was because of my stepdaughter, who I think is listening or watching. She's the reader in the family, and I wanted to do something with her over the pandemic, and so we started reading. And through audiobooks and through actual physical reading, I mean, I think I go through almost 100 books a year.
Wow.
So,
That's insane.
Yeah, so
That's a
since the
lot.
pandemic, it's been almost 300-400 books, not to mention the ones that I've read before. So when picking this book, I really wanted a good story. And so I went through many books. I'm a researcher at heart.
Yes.
I love a good story.
Yes.
And when I started reading Tita's story, it just felt like such a great storytelling. It was raw. It was relatable. It had the family dynamics. It was just everything that I felt like our comadre tribe was going to resonate with.
Completely.
And I wanted a book that if you haven't read in a long time, it was going to grab your attention and want you reading more, right? You want to hear more of these stories that you don't get to watch on TV, you know? And they're so much more detailed in the books, right?
Although I have to say, it had
Yeah.
that like telenovela
It did.
angle.
It did,
It
which
was
I
a very,
loved.
very much a telenovela.
I
Like a
loved
couple.
it.
There's like 3 telenovela angles, if you will,
Yes.
throughout the
Yes.
book.
Yes.
Yes.
And a lot of surprises in there as well.
Right. Right. So that's what I
awesome.
wanted. I wanted a book that hooks you. I wanted a book that you could relate to, and a book that left you wanting more. And honestly, Tita did that with this incredible book. I mean, really, really, truly. I know
agree.
there's a lot of like comadritas that already read it, which I'm excited to dive in. And for those comadritas that are watching that haven't read it, you have to watch. You have to read.
Yes.
I mean, you have to read this book. It's so, so, so fun.
I know. So are we ready to dive into the conversation? And besides talking to Tita about the actual book and what it meant for her, like how it connected with us personally, right? Because there's a lot of parts that resonated with me, and like how this Cuban family it had many similarities with us Mexican families, you know, first generation, second generation. So I know I'll be diving about that. But are we ready to finally introduce the star of the show?
Let's do this.
Let's do this. Vamos a ver. Officially welcoming our special guest, our first author for the book club, Comadres, Libros, and Lattes. Bienvenida, Tita. No la vemos
A
todavía.
ver, ¿dónde está
She
Tita?
on? She's on.
Is
Just
she
a turn on
on?
her camera.
Let's see. Tita, sé que estás. A ver.
I think
Let's
I hear
see,
her.
let's see.
Yeah, right?
I hear her, but I can't see
A
her.
ver, Walter Mercado, do your thing. We don't see
Walter
her yet.
Mercado, come on.
So this is why we prayed earlier.
Yes.
We did trials and tests with Tita. We saw her earlier. She's coming on, I think
Yeah,
so.
she's
Yes,
coming on.
ojalá esté escuchando este en vivo.
All right, we're
Pero
working
si no-
through some.
Some little
Some little
technicalities
tech
here,
issues.
but
Here
yeah,
we
we're gonna get through.
go.
We're gonna get through.
Well, we're already getting some people asking about the free app. What's that free app again?
Yes.
Libby?
So if you guys don't know about this app,
There
it's
she
incredible.
is.
There we go.
Oh,
there we
she
go.
is.
Hi, Tita.
Hey,
There we go. We're just
Tita.
doing some. But just to finish that thought, it's Libby, Libby. It's an app, and you can get all like physical, like digital
free.
books and also audio
It's
books on there.
basically the library.
Yeah,
It's for
the
your
library.
local library. And also, if you don't have a library card, then you
can get it on there.
Get
I
one
think
on there.
super
So
easy.
here we
Sign up
go
and
with
get
it
Tita.
on there.
She's
Anyway,
here.
Tita.
Yay! Hi, Tita. No.
Oh, we can't hear you. Are you muted?
There.
Let's see.
En el nombre sea de Dios, que se escuche, Tita.
Can we hear you? Let's do test.
Okay.
There
There
we
we
go.
go.
There
We
it
can
is.
hear you.
We can hear you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Can you hear us?
Oh, she can't
I
hear
can
us.
hear you a little bit. Just
Okay.
a second.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
They're
it-
putting up the volume.
But if we can hear her, that means that all the comadritas watching and listening can hear her as well, right?
They're
Yes.
watching her right
A
now.
ver.
They're
Watching
watching
her.
you. Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
There we go.
There we go.
No, we can't hear you now.
1 sec.
There we
no,
go.
no, she's there.
Ahí
My
estás.
volume.
Ahí estás.
See, this is real. This is live TV, guys.
This is live.
It's live YouTube, Coma.
This is live.
Live YouTube.
Let's see.
Anything can happen.
Ahí estamos. Okay, while she sets up, yeah. Dice Janet Martinez, hello. Is that you, Janet? No, that's
No,
not
that's not me. Not Martinez.
Me
Last
gusta.
time I checked.
I love that I get to see all the comments here while Tita sets up her camera. Muchas dicen, yo tengo aquí mi vinito listo.
I love
¿verdad?
it.
I want to
Uy, qué
respond to
rico.
Pequeña Lulu. She says, Hola, comadritas. I'm not a book reader. I just can't find the time. Okay, Pequeña, I'm going to tell you, you know when I read? I read while I'm cooking dinner, washing dishes, vacuuming.
Were you
doing
listening
my-
to
Yeah,
stories?
I'm
you.
listening to it.
That's
My
right.
kids are at
Driving.
school. Yeah,
Yeah, driving to pick up the
If
kids.
you
¿No
have
les
a moment-
distrae? I feel like it's for me, it would distract me.
No,
No.
girl, I'm like
See,
vacuuming
I
and
crave
I'm listening to my
faster.
Yeah.
yes,
I
and
crave
I'm
faster.
so focused. I'm so
love it.
like hyper focused actually on the story, but also
Uh-huh.
like so I feel like I'm multitasking, which is something that's not necessarily a good thing, but I do multitask like that.
That is so interesting. You know, interestingly enough, today I was reading a beautiful quote that said that if we all read 10 pages a day, that would actually complete a book before the end of the month.
Yeah,
if you think
right.
about it, right? So I was so happy when Janet chose this book, and I said, "Ay, qué bueno que no es más de 500 páginas." 379 pages. I'm like, I think that's very doable. No,
Yes,
honestly, I was
yeah.
very surprised myself that I honestly thought I was going to finish this book like last night, but I got ahead of myself because of the curveballs of the story.
Yeah.
I'm telling
That
you.
is so.
They
couldn't
hook
put it
you.
down. You couldn't
They
put it
hook
down.
you for
Tita,
sure.
are you
Tita,
there
are you
with
there?
us now?
Oh, there
Yeah,
she
I
is.
hear you.
Oh, there we
awesome.
go. Yes.
Oh.
All right.
Welcome, Tita.
Tita, let's introduce ourselves so that way you get to know who's who. So I'm officially welcoming you to our podcast, Comadres Unfiltered. I am Argelia Tilano. Qué gusto conocerte, Tita.
How wonderful to finally get to meet you. This is Mindy, Tita.
Tita, this is Diana Castillo.
And I'm Janet, Tita. We've been in contact for a little bit, so I feel like you and I know each other a little bit better. Welcome.
Bienvenida.
We're so happy you're with us.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited. I'm so glad we got it all figured out. Walter was with us for sure.
Walter Mercado, yes.
That's right. That's right.
You know, I love that that's one of the beauties of your book, that you include so many relevant stores, restaurants, characters that are part of our, just our culture and our history growing up in the United States of America.
Oh yeah. I just, it's part of the fabric of our lives, so to speak, right? Like, and especially if you're somebody who comes from a family, a Latino family, I think that's what it is to be Latino Americano, right? You have a little bit of each in your lives, and you're certainly if you're from Miami, you're speaking in Spanglish, you might have your pizza and your McDonald's, for lunch, but you're going to come home and you're going to have your frijoles and
your fricassé de pollo.
Absolutely.
Ándale.
Right now, I did want to give a little background on Tita because she won't speak about herself, but I can speak about you. So Tita Ramirez is a Cuban-American author who grew up in Miami, the daughter of a Cuban exile, and you can step in, right, and can take Kentucky native. Her writing spans both fiction and nonfiction, with work featured in notable publications such as Lit Hub, The Normal School, The Black Warrior Review. She teaches creative writing at Elon University in North Carolina.
North Carolina. So that's where you're at right now, Tita?
yes.
Oh, I can't hear her.
Wow,
Yeah,
there you are.
there
So,
you
okay, Cuban, like American, living in North Carolina. How's that working out for you?
I miss being able to run over and get un cafecito anytime I want, right? From a ventanita someplace. It's, I joke with my other friends who are Cuban from Miami and have left Miami that when you leave Miami, you feel more Cuban than you've ever felt. Like I first left Miami and went to Gainesville, Florida, which is about 6 hours north of Miami. Spent some time there going to school, and then spent some more time there just kind of hanging out, being a young adult. And I was so suddenly aware of my cultural heritage, so much more than I ever had been living in Miami. And it's because you're surrounded by Cubans. And then in Miami now, it's not just Cubans. I mean, everybody's there, right? Mm-hmm. But it's very Latin American all over the place. And then I came up here for grad school, and can you guys see my puppy?
Yes.
We're having a storm here in North Carolina, and so both of the dogs are freaking out. But yeah, no, I mean, I miss home, obviously, but it never leaves you. You are who you are inside, and it never leaves you. And I really like North Carolina. Actually, I live in Greensboro, which is it's not a small town, but it's not a big city. It's a small city where I can get downtown to go to my local indie bookstore, my local amazing little coffee shop in literally 5 minutes. I can get across the city in I just realized something. I should not be telling you this. You guys are in LA.
Okay, I've never been there, so now
I know.
Sounds cute.
But this is, I'm sure, moving and bringing that Cuban history with you, maybe had something to do with the book. So what inspired you to write Tell It To Me Singing? And maybe for those comadritas that haven't read the book yet, if you can just give a little brief synopsis of the book and then maybe share with us what inspired you to write this book.
Absolutely. The book is about, it's a mother-daughter story and centers on Monica Campo, who is a 29-year-old young woman living in Miami. She's Cuban-American. Her parents came on the Mariel boat lift in the 1980s. And she's pregnant with her first child, engaged to her fiance, Robert, although she is not 100% sure that Robert is the man for her. She dated someone before Robert for 5 years who basically still has her heart. Diana was mentioning the telenovela aspects, and that's one of the telenovela aspects of the story. And her mom, Mirta, is diagnosed with a severe heart condition and needs to undergo emergency heart surgery. And so within the first couple chapters of the book, her mom is headed into emergency heart surgery and drops a bomb on Monica and tells her, out of fear, I have a secret I need to confess to you. Your real father is not the man who raised you. And Monica is obviously thrown, doesn't know what to think, is completely freaked out. And when her mom comes out of the surgery, which is she has a very difficult recovery, she ends up having these sort of delusional moments, which really throws Monica and makes her wonder, like, was my mom telling the truth? Was it just the pre-op drugs? Was she just channeling her telenovela that she loves so much? They watch a telenovela together throughout the book. And she sort of goes on a quest to figure out what the truth is, and ends up uncovering secrets plural, not just the one secret, but ends up discovering who her mother was on a deeper level before she had Monica. And so in that way, it's very much about storytelling and about figuring out your own story, figuring out the story of your family, and what happens when you think you know your story, you think you know the story of your family, and then you realize, no, I don't. And I came to the book, it was originally a short story that I published in The Normal School, that literary magazine, The Normal School. And it was about Monica realizing that she was pregnant with Robert, and what am I going to do? And it was really contained to the whole realizing, okay, what am I doing with my life? What am I doing with this guy? And I published the story and I tried to move on. And then I realized I kind of can't stop thinking about her. And her mom had appeared in the story, but just sort of briefly. But her mom really started to enter my mind. And Mirta kind of grew and grew in my head. And the next thing I know, I was like, I think I need to keep writing about these people. Oh my God, what am I doing? Oh my God, I think I'm writing a novel. And I knew I needed some conflict, because you don't have a story if you don't have conflict. That's, fiction writing 101. I tell my students this all the time. And I thought about how I have a bit of a personal connection to the book, in that my own mom confessed a secret to me when I was in my early 20s, which is that she had been married to someone before she was married to my dad. And it was a short marriage. It was only like a year. It was not a good situation. It ended. And then she eventually met my father, and, they fell in love and got married. But I had no idea. I had no clue she had this whole relationship. She had a big old wedding, actually, with the guy. And I got to thinking, and I thought, what if Monica's mom confesses a secret to her that's kind of like that, but more devastating, more extreme, that would have more of a ripple effect. And once I had the secret, I was kind of off and running.
I love that.
Oh, yeah.
It's awesome.
And what a secret it was.
Right?
I mean, really.
And the drama, the conflict. Whew.
When I read that whole part of The Secret, it resonated really quick with my grandma is no longer with me, but my grandma would always tell me and my sisters, el corazón de una mujer y el espejo guardan muchos secretos. And so I always think about when my grandma used to say, hay cosas que en la vida nada más tú y el espejo. And that's it. Y me pongo a pensar, that's so true. Our heart holds so many things about our past, especially because this book, Tita, you talk about a lot about that first beautiful young love, which I think a lot of us go through, but we're not ready for that person. But you always hang on to that one young love. Right. And I think about what happens today with social media, and a lot of these women or men reconnect with their young love, already having established their families, but because of Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat, the connection happens again, which is what happens in this book, not with social
Yes.
media, but how Mirta is able to get a second opportunity at that, with just realizing and making that young love like just come to life again, despite her already having her family with her new husband. Like, that is crazy to me. Like, so then I think, okay, who do you really fall in love with? Like, when do you, how do you know who you really fall in love with? When you think your young love was part of a chapter, but then someone else comes across and you build a whole family, but then people get confused.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Well, we start romanticizing
Yeah.
the past too, right? It's like you always have to remember why you broke up. Because, you know, depending on where you are in your relationship, you know, you might not be going through the greatest things. You might be going through a speed bump, and then you don't remember the bad stuff. You start remembering the good stuff, and you start romanticizing. But there was a reason why you broke up, right?
A reason.
And
So
I think
true.
with Monica too, I'm like,
Oh my
girls,
gosh.
stop going. Don't read your books backwards. Stop it.
Oh my God.
Stop it, stop it,
I
stop
got
it.
so frustrated.
Yeah,
with-
Tita, you
with
made us
Monica.
frustrated.
Very frustrating with Monica going back, texting her ex. I just kept thinking of my younger self, you know, over and over, just thinking, I used to do that when I was very young, you know, just keep going back to the same guy. And I'm like, qué pendeja. ¿Por qué? Why do I keep doing this? And it was very frustrating because we actually wanted Monica to fall in love with Robert.
Yes.
Robert was the good guy, right? Like he wanted to give her a beautiful home and a family, and he was there for her. He showed so much
Well, he
love.
had to get rid of those iguanas.
Well, yeah. Get rid of those iguanas. But otherwise, he seemed like a really great guy,
Yes.
right? We all
Yes.
wanted her to
I
fall
wanted
in love.
Robert to win.
I don't want to.
Exactly.
I don't want to really ruin the story for many
Yeah.
comadritas, but there is that one. I'm just gonna say this one. That one scene in the airport where Robert wants to follow Monica to find her mom,
Yes.
and she says, "Leave." I mean, I'm feeling the tension in that chapter, Tita, because Manny's on his way, which is her ex, and I'm trying to. I'm screaming at the book saying,
Oh my
Monica,
God.
apúrate, Manny's about to catch you with Robert. But then
Yes.
my heart breaks the way she chooses Manny over Robert in that one,
In an
you
instant.
know, an instant.
Oh, yeah.
And it really does. I'm like, how many women have done that? Like, how many of us have done that? I haven't been there. No, but I'm
Yeah,
just thinking, wow, what a situation. Like, how did you come up with all these like dramatic moments? You know, like at
Yes.
the airport scene and the hospital scenes and the hotel scene.
Oh,
these
yeah.
dramatic moments that
Yes.
truly are telenovela.
The rescue
Oh, my
scene. I
goodness.
mean, I won't give more away, but that
No,
rescue
don't
scene,
give
ay,
any-
Dios mío.
We're giving too much away.
Too much cortadito for you.
Yeah, I mean, some of it is, you know, you nailed it with the reference to all the drama. Like, that's one of the things I was trying for is, at some point, I don't know at what point, because it took me a very long time to write this book. So,
How many years did it take you to write this book?
basically 14 years, like between,
Wow.
Oh, wow. 14 years.
yeah, I'm a debut novelist at 50.
I love it.
That is
Yay.
amazing.
Welcome.
Awesome.
We're, part
I
of the,
love
we're
it.
part of the club.
50 years young. I love it.
Yes.
And I'm 50 plus, but it, you know, it all kind
So
of,
am I. Awesome.
yeah, I mean, I made the mistake of starting my first novel when I started my family. Like, I literally started writing this novel the year that I had my first kid.
Wow.
So you know how that slows you down, and
Oh, absolutely.
what a story. But all
But
that
you
to say,
did it.
I don't exactly remember when the following thought occurred to me, but the following thought occurred to me at one point. I was like, oh my God, what if I want to read a book where the writer is playing with the idea of telenovelas, and almost like not just playing off of telenovelas, but like almost like an homage to them. Can I be that writer? Can I do that? Can I write the book I want to read? That's what everyone always says. Write the book you want to read. And I tried. I gave it a try, you know, and hopefully it works. But that's part of why there's, you know, 2 or 3 really dramatic scenes that I hope don't feel too melodramatic. but I was absolutely nodding towards some of those like dun 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 kind of moments that we see in telenovelas or soap operas or just any kind of like really high drama narrative. But you know, when you got a love triangle, you're gonna have some tension, either on the page or off the page, you know. And I think it's fun to have the tension be, you know, it can't all just be in her own head of her sitting around going, Manny, Robert, which one? You know, if you put them in the same room together, then the reader can really experience that on a more visceral gut level, and truly relate to Monica, and, you know, like you were saying, scream and yell at the book, hopefully, and pull their hair out and get more engaged.
Yes.
And Manny coming to the hospital was not in the book for a long time. I actually was telling a friend about the book and about that plot, the Manny plot line, essentially. And she said, well, what if he comes to the hospital? And I was like, oh my God, that would be so awkward. And she's like, yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. Manny would do that. That's the whole thing with Manny, is that he's not shy, and he's not going to just stand back. And, you know, once Monica reconnected with him, he saw that as a green light. Of course, he didn't know any of the other information about her life. So, you know, of course he would think of it as a green light. And so he shows up, you know. And also, that's a cultural thing too. Like, when someone you know and someone you love is, their family members in the hospital, you go to the hospital.
Right.
Or you reach out. Like, that's, to my mind, that's part of the Latin American culture. It's certainly part of the Cuban culture. I mean, that's one of the things I was playing with the whole like Cuban National Convention, where you know, in the world,
everybody's in the waiting room.
That's right.
Bring you pastelito and cafecito.
So relatable, right?
Yes.
It's true.
Right.
Talking
So,
about,
like,
yes, talking about being very relatable. I mean, I want to share something do we want to share stuff that's very relatable to us, how it hit us?
Sure. Go for it.
So
Archie.
I know, Tita, that I love that fact that you're obviously not living in Miami anymore, but you take, like Janet was saying, you know, your roots, your culture, your story, now with this book everywhere that talks about, you know, your history in a way. But I really want to read this one part, because this is the one part that I could it resonated with me and Monica. And it's page 7. Right off the bat, it connected with me. It says, I lived with my parents until I was 26, not because it was convenient and cheap, as I said to my friend Lisa, but because I felt like I wasn't allowed to move out. My mother wanted me to stay for the same reason every Cuban parent wants their daughter to stay. A woman should move from her parents' house to her husband's house. But more than that, she wanted me to stay because I belonged to her. And that part, when I still get a little bit emotional. Mm-hmm. When I was 28, 29, I was ready to move out. I had my career, I had 2 jobs, and I was ready to move out to an apartment with my best friend, which, by the way, today is her birthday, her real birthday, Carlotta. Oh. And we actually had the nerve to actually go apartment hunting. We found an apartment, we put down the deposit, and the whole time I was thinking, ¿qué le voy a decir a mi mamá? But my mom will understand. I have my career. I'm making my own money. You know, I'm educated. I went to school. She trusts me.
And you're 28
And I'm 28, right? And so I thought my mom was going to be, bueno, mija, que te vaya bien. When I did it, when I showed her the fact that I was moving out, Tita, it was like someone had died. Like, my mom started to cry, and she started saying, es que no te puedes ir. Mama, I hardly even see you. I have 2 jobs. I leave the house at 4 a.m. I come back at 9 p.m., and she said, the fact that you're coming home and the fact that I know that you're sleeping next to me and next door is all I need to know. But so it just resonated how it doesn't matter for us Latinos if you're Cuban or Mexican or Peruano or Costarricense or Ecuadorian. There's a beautiful thing about moms just connecting with their daughters and not wanting to let go, because we're still like a part of their life.
Yeah.
That's right.
And that was very painful for me. And guess what I did? I didn't move out. I stayed.
Until you got married?
Until I got married.
Wow. Oh my God.
Until I got married.
Wow.
I couldn't do that to my mom. My mom was, a single mom, and I couldn't give her that pain. And so reading that part in your book from the get-go, that's what I said, oh, I love this already. It's a mother-daughter relationship story. And that's what I want to thank you, for bringing these stories to light. I don't know how it will be with our daughters. It's a different generation. And I think it's more normalized, where our daughters will fend on their own. But I don't know how that will be if I will be like, I don't think I can hold my daughter back.
No,
I don't think I won't.
You
different.
won't, because you're going to
It's different
encourage them to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
And they may want to go to college in Miami,
yes,
in a
or
different
New York,
state.
or Chicago,
Or abroad.
Yeah,
Or abroad.
So you're not
Yes.
going to hold them back. You're not going to do what my mom did, which was, "Y vas a ir a CSUN, and you're going to live here until the day you got married." And sure enough,
Yeah.
I think
I
it was
did not
based on
leave-
guilt, right?
Yeah, I
They
didn't
give you
leave
the
my
guilt
house
trip.
until the day I got married.
Exactly.
I mean, I didn't. I moved out.
Yeah,
I moved
too.
out.
Yeah,
but,
good.
But there is a lot of those elements. Tita, did you draw from your own mother's relationship to write that part? The story between Monica and Mirta is such a special relationship, and then you have woven in, that she's ill, right? And that is a different dynamic as well. It just brings in another layer to it. How did that story get told, and did you pick up from your own relationship with your mom?
A little bit. I thought about this a lot, actually. Mirta and Monica's relationship is an amalgamation, is like a combo of, it's got a little bit of my relationship with my mom, it's got a little bit of my sister's relationship with our mom. It has a lot of my best friend, who actually passed away. She is the person that the book is dedicated to, along with my parents. Her relationship with her mom was very, I thought about them, and I used them as a model for Mirta and Monica. And interestingly, they are not Latino in any way. They literally, she has ancestors from the Mayflower. It's, but that mother-daughter friendship that is so essential to both of them, but also is a power dynamic. There's a power dynamic there where they're pushing and pulling constantly. And then my oldest bestie from college and his relationship with his mom is sprinkled in there a little bit. And I stole something from his life and his mom's life. I stole the whole heart issue from them. His mom had an aortic aneurysm that needed to be emergency surgery, emergency operated. And her recovery was also very, very difficult. And so that's how I knew a lot about the medical stuff that went on, and how that particular surgery can result in a very hard recovery. I just I don't know, I sort of put together, I also like a dash of imagination, once I realized, I knew that Mirta bugged Monica a lot and kind of drove her crazy a little bit. I had that thread of it from the very beginning. But then once I realized, no, they're friends. They need to be friends. They need to be, they talk every day, she says it right in the beginning of the book. It was her mom who convinced her, or not convinced her, just helped her realize, I want to be an interior designer. It was her mom who helped her realize, I need to break up with Manny because he's just going to continue re-enlisting for Afghanistan. He's not going to give me the commitment that I deserve. And of course, once you understand more about Mirta's past, you understand how she knows so much about men who have a greater commitment to their country, a very intense commitment to their country, if you will. She doesn't know that at the time. She figures it out later. But once I realized they're so close, that's when it really started to come alive. And when, and then I realized, and if Mirta is in pain, if she's in danger, if her health is in danger, Monica is going to be devastated and terrified, and
that's what happens, right? With a mom-daughter relationship, I think, it's that dynamic between the both of them that, you have the high highs and the low lows with your mom, but they're always your mom, and that they have your best interest at heart, and But sometimes you're so much like your mom, in this case, very, very specifically, that, you butt heads a lot, right?
Yeah.
That's because you're hearing like your little like, devil and angel, but like it's your mom that's talking to you, but it's really you.
It's your mom.
Yes.
But you know what's one thing that got me thinking too is that Mirta started sharing a lot of secrets, when she wasn't even aware of that she was sharing all these secrets. I'm like, oh my gosh, when we age and we maybe in our sleep or when we get sick, we're going to start sharing these secrets. And it got me thinking, oh my goodness, that's a little bit scary. If we not that I'm hiding anything, I hope not, but you never know, like what's going to come out of my mouth when I'm, about to sedated with something or some sort of hallucination of some sort.
Or this just reminded me of that 23andMe, that people do the 23andMe and all of a sudden all these secrets are coming out of like
DNA.
lost family members. Yes. And that
true.
has happened.
That's happened.
To a lot of people.
Yes, definitely.
Los secretos. Dun, dun, dun.
But also that generation, I notice, even within my family and my aunties and my mom, there's so many secrets that they keep. And I'm sure they're still keeping, right?
Yep.
And you start finding things out here and there. And I just think that there's so many things that back in the day were so taboo to talk about also, right?
Yes.
So this really resonated with me because I thought all those little things that my mom kept and then we discovered, right? I could totally relate with that completely.
Matter of fact, here's like me again.
I love
underlining
it. I love it.
Talking about the secrets and the importance of knowing your history. My mother leans toward me. Mi niña, don't cry. Rolando loves you very much. He raised you. I just mean that Juan is part of your history, and it's important to know your history, especially now that you're going to have a family of your own. That's when it really hits because you're right. This child deserves to know the entire story, right? Like, hopefully. I want to know, like, it got me thinking about my grandmas. Like, okay, yes, I met my grandparents, but were they really the love of their life?
Forget that. Then I was wondering. I was like, I hope my dad is my real dad. No,
No es tu padre. Diana, es que no es tu
I
padre.
hope my mom doesn't come up with some secret someday.
You're
Sorry,
princess.
mommy, if you're watching. I didn't.
You're related to royalty, Diana.
See, but that's the beauty of your book, Tita. It's very powerful. The secrets, this is real, but it has a lot of sense of humor. Also tying into relationships with our spouses or our partners. There's this one scene that I loved where Monica just is a nervous wreck. She's got anxiety, she's stressed, she's got this baby, but she's still in love with her ex. And she comes to her apartment with Robert and she gets upset over some freaking spoons. And I'm like, that is me. I get upset at my poor husband when he gets the wrong towels or he gets the wrong, the decoration spoon. And that's what I love about this book too, that you're able to weave in like real stuff that happens within just learning how to adjust with, sharing a house with.
Well, she's also pregnant, right? Pregnant and the hormones are everywhere.
Yes, that too. But you're very real about presenting that side.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, no, she first of all, she was so fun to write. I miss Monica. I feel like she's like my best friend that I need to go visit. So it's so fun to talk with people about her. But yeah, she was really stressed. And I think one of the big issues is cohabitation is so weird. Like, think about, for those of you all who have partners or have had partners in the past, like moving in with them. That's insane, to take your whole life and put it together with somebody else's whole life and to take all your stuff and their stuff and put it in the same space. And then if anybody's ever experienced the thing where you move in with them, really strange.
It never feels like your own, like your place, right? When you're moving in with someone.
Totally. And she's someone for whom home and her space is super important. I mean, she wants to be a designer, right? Like the physical space that she's in and that she, puts herself in, that she lives in is so self-defining for her. And to pick up and have to leave her little casita that she loves so much, the mouse house, which again is tied back to the idea of her seeking out her own identity, breaking away from her mom, which was so difficult for her. She finally did it and she got her little mouse house that she loved so much, and she was able to be herself and have her horrible breakup with Manny, without anyone else observing that. And then to have to move in with Robert, who is lovely and really cool and a great guy. But she's living in his space. And I think that night that you're talking about with the spoons, she just hit the wall,
Yes.
you know? I think all of her stuff kind of came down on her in that one moment, and seeing the kitchen all, you know, like just totally messed up and gross. And she kind of lost it about a spoon. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just like it's a sign that there's more going on, obviously. That was just la gota que derramó el vaso, like we say,
Yes.
right? But there's more to.
And the fact that she was not in love with Robert. That's
Exactly.
another thing. Everything was ticking her off, because if Manny was there picking up that spoon,
She'd be spanking him with that spoon.
it would have been a different story.
Archie.
I know. And
In
speaking
the
of,
kitchen.
can we talk about that little scene with Monica and Manny?
Oh.
That
Oh,
scene. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The steamy
Yeah,
scene.
the steamy scene.
Ay,
That was
steamy.
totally unexpected, by
Hay
the way.
pasión en la historia de Tell It To Me singing.
Wow,
There's a lot
she's
of that.
pregnant.
So much, girlfriends. If you haven't read it, you got to read it for sure.
I never thought I was gonna get hot and steamy
Bothered?
and
Yes.
bothered. And I really didn't think there was gonna be
I
like
didn't
room for
either.
that. But you surprised us, Tita, with
yeah.
with that one scene where it all starts with the ear.
Oh,
Con la orejita.
there's so many unexpected scenes, and then we go towards the end of the book, and there's the novela takes over, and I was just like roll, like let's like popcorn, you know, like what's gonna happen next, you know, what's
Yes.
gonna happen next. And I don't want to give that away, because part of it was what I loved, is that I didn't know what was going to happen. But that was really exciting to kind of move into. We left the United States, and
The
then we
rescue
go
scene.
to but
That's, yeah.
but you know, like, again, without giving too much away,
Yes.
but you know, it's we go into another country, and that was really what made you like write about that.
I knew that Mirta was moving away from a sane. Okay. That makes it sound like I'm trying to say she's insane. I'm not trying to say that at all. I knew that Mirta was spiraling away from full control of herself, and that something was happening to her that she couldn't quite control. And I just thought, you know what? If she is not in full control, if she has one of those episodes where she is not fully present and understanding what reality is, she just really might try to, I'm trying not to give too much away. She might try to get what she wants and meet the goal that she's trying to meet, without any concern for her own safety or what really needs to be going on here, and the fact that she shouldn't be doing that at all. I just tried it. I said, go for it. Let's see what happens. And it just went from there, and it all fell into place.
So what do you envision? Like, I know I can't get into that too much but it's so much fun, right? But like, what now that you know the book has concluded, for us that have read it, what do you envision for the characters, like beyond the last page?
Like part two?
Part two?
I don't know.
Actually, this
Is
book
there?
is part 1 and part 2, so maybe part 3. Tiene razón.
How do you envision this? How do you envision their lives beyond the book, beyond the last page?
I have a little bit. I've actually written some of it simply because the book was originally longer than it is now, and my agent and my editor and I all decided, okay, that stuff doesn't need to be in here. But I have thought about it. You know, I've thought about what it looks like once Monica has this baby. You know, how her relationship with Mirta has changed and probably will continue to change. what Mirta's relationship to the baby might be. I haven't thought a ton about that, but just right now mentioning it out loud, that's probably really interesting to think about, as well as Rolando's relationship, her dad's relationship to the baby, and to herself. I think their relationship has grown so much. It grows so much over the course of the book that I find that really interesting, and that might be kind of fun to think about. What Friday nights look like and feel like now, as opposed to what they felt like before all of this. The Friday nights that she goes over and spends with them and sits down and watches the telenovela, and then her relationship to the new person in her life. I think that could be super interesting. And I won't say what I envision in terms of her relationship to Robert and Manny. I think I kind of know what her relationship to Robert looks like. I'm not 100% sure I know what her relationship to Manny looks like.
Neither do we.
Neither do we. Yeah.
Tita, I think we're going to send you some cortaditos so we can get another book, because we need to have it like sooner rather than later. We want the next. What's coming next? There are some questions from some of our audience.
There are. We see a few.
Do you want to read one, Archie?
Yeah, let's see. El Libro Feliz y Yo, which I think is Paula.
Yes.
¿Verdad? What advice do you give to women that are starting late in life to build their dreams? And then she says, like me, in writing. But so many of us women in our 40s and 50s, the dreams are kind of difficult to achieve, I guess she's trying to say. And we know this person. She has written actually a few books. It's taken her a lot. And I guess that for a lot of people that have been wanting to write a book, but like you said, that took you 14 years. I wrote a book too, a children's book, and it took me a long time. And also because it was in between work. And so, yes, it's a lot. It's not easy. So what advice do you give to women that have had that pinned up for a long time, but now they're in their 40s and 50s? Is it too late?
No way. It is not too late. No. First of all, no way. It is not too late. It's just not the end. My advice is find time, and finding time is, of course, the hard part. Second only to making yourself do it. Because one of the issues for a lot of us writers is that writing is scary. And actually sitting down and doing it is the scariest thing in the world. And you'll do anything not to write. I had a friend who used to come over to my apartment and would look around and it would be spotless. And she would look at me and go, "You're trying to work on a story, aren't you?" And I'd be like,
I love it.
Back in the olden days when we had phone cords, I once unwound, like I had this old phone that had like a 25-foot phone cord on it, so I could like have it in the bedroom, have it in the kitchen, whatever. And it would get really like wound up. I literally remember sitting in my living room unwinding the phone cord because I was trying to work on something, and I was like, well, I clearly need to spend time doing this, and then I need to vacuum, and then I need to do the laundry. Like, writers will do anything not to write, and that's part of it. But the other part of it is, once you have a fully established life, especially if you're a mom or a parent, it's really hard to find the time. And then what's maybe the hardest thing, second to like really making yourself do it, is like deciding that it's okay to find the time, that it's okay for me to take these 20 minutes to work on my children's book, my essay collection, my poetry, my novel, my whatever, instead of filling out those forms for the baseball team that, yes, they do need to get in by tomorrow night, but I know I'm going to be able to do that during my lunch break at work tomorrow. Right now, when the kids are asleep and my partner is, in the other room watching their, X-Files reruns or whatever, I'm going to take these 20 minutes at the kitchen table and pour myself a glass of wine or a cup of tea and just open up the file. And it's okay to do that instead of doing the baseball, forms or the folding the laundry or whatever that stupid thing is that you have to do. Because the stupid things are always going to be there. They're going nowhere. There's always laundry. There's always going to be permission slips. There's always going to be something for your job, right? just don't get fired,
And you
Good
just
advice.
reminded me I have to sign my daughters up for a swim meet by midnight tonight. Thank
Oh
you.
my God. See, that's life. That's life.
life.
So, but you said, so it took you 14 years to write the book, and you just talked about, you had challenges, but still, how did it feel to finally feel the book in your hands? Like, what was that moment for you? How did you share that moment? This is your debut novel, Tita. Like, the work that you put in there, your family is part of it. Walk us through that moment.
Oh my God. I actually, before we went on, I said to my husband, can I please have a copy? My books are like, there's a couple copies of my book behind me on this bookshelf. I said, could you reach me a copy? Because I just wanted to have it like next to me. Like,
It's your baby.
it's my baby. It is my baby. I worked so long on it. And I have an incredible editor who also worked so hard with me, like rolled up her sleeves and just dived into this book with me. And to have it be real is surreal. Like, I've told this story a couple other times in other spaces, but literally the first book event I did was, technically speaking, the night before the book was out on shelves. But bookstores have it like a week in advance. So there was this one lovely bookstore here in North Carolina that invited me to do a book event the night before my book was like officially launched. And I walk into that bookstore and there were strangers holding my book, like people who were not in any way related to me. They didn't know my mom. They weren't my husband. And I just was like, oh my God, that's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life, to say nothing of like the day that I got, because they send you books in advance. When they sent me my books and I opened the box and I took it out, I just was like, what in the world?
What a moment.
And yeah, because I'm a parent, and I'm a parent who birthed kids, like it does kind of feel sort of similar, frankly. It's like, I made this, and now it's in the world, and it's also terrifying. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's, like, the thought of somebody actually reading this on the one hand is like, I want to throw up in my own mouth. I'm like, oh my God. Because what if they hate it? What if they don't like it? What if it's terrible? I don't really read any of my review stuff. My husband reads all that stuff for me, and he'll just report to me like, they're really liking it on Goodreads. And,
Oh, that's a good husband.
That's great.
yeah, he's a writer too, so he gets it. Like we do the exact same thing, and we do it for each other. But
That's
yeah,
great.
it's strange. It's kind of like childbearing.
Yeah, they say in this life that we should all have a child, plant a tree, and write a book. But honestly,
Those children can be different things, right?
yes.
Yes.
But it sounds like it's easy, but it's not. I mean, writing a book is literally it takes so much, and and we got to admit, not everybody can write a book this level.
No.
But we can all write our own story.
True.
The
That's
way you
true.
want to write your story, whether it's through a podcast, right? Whether it's through social media or journaling,
Scrapbooking.
scrapbooking. Yeah, we all have stories to share, right, Tita? And that's the beauty of sharing, especially books like yours, especially during Hispanic Heritage
That's
Month.
right.
Celebrating our
Perfect.
own authors like you, which is obviously, just to know that it's your debut novel and that you gave us the time today. We'll never forget this first encounter with an author for the
Yes.
Comadres Unfiltered podcast. So thank you, because guess what? You're touching lives in LA on the West Coast, girlfriend.
And all over the
Yes.
country. We
All
have people
over.
chiming in from all over the country. Tita, we just want to thank you so much for saying yes to this crazy idea that we had. And, we loved your book so much that we're so excited that you're here today to just give us a little bit of insight into your mind and your heart. And our girls and our comadre tribe loved it. And like,
Yes. Absolutely.
these four and then everybody else behind the camera as well. Like truly, 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 thank you. One question. What do you want the readers to take away from your book?
Y dímelo cantando. You got to say it singing, girl. Singing.
Besides the power of Walter Mercado, who can do, through anything, as evidenced by the last, 20 pages of the book, I would like readers to take away an idea about the complications of relation, the complexity of relationships and how that's not a bad thing. One of the reasons I wanted to play with the idea of the telenovela, one of the things that I wanted to do thematically is kind of put out there the idea that, you know, we all want to think our lives are so neat and clean, and I would never do that, and I wouldn't act like that, and I wouldn't text my ex, and I wouldn't whatever. But when you start talking to people and they start opening up to you and they're honest with you, you find that a lot of us, as you guys were saying earlier, a lot of us have texted our ex or,
Right.
you know, questioned our lives, questioned our decisions. Those of us who are, and this is something we haven't really touched on yet, but there's a lot in the book about motherhood and parenthood in general, but in specific to Mirta, motherhood, and then Monica's fears of motherhood. But I mean, Mirta had a really hard time when Monica was a baby, and didn't always behave in the most upstanding manner. And that's not okay, but it's also not uncommon. It's some of those moments that make us human. And so I kind of wanted readers to tap into their own humanity through these characters, and yeah, get frustrated with them and, you know, want to throw the book against the wall, but also maybe take a moment to reflect on, you know, this isn't just fictional over the top telenovela characters. It's not just Clara and Sebastián and Armando from Abismo de Pasión who act like this. It's also sometimes those of us who are real people who get into strange places, go into relationships for the wrong reasons, keep secrets for many years for the right or wrong reasons, et cetera, come clean in moments that that wash us clean. You know, I mean, Mirta, I think, confessed that secret, not necessarily because she wanted to, but because I think she felt like she had to. She was terrible.
And through
So true.
Mirta's story and depression, you actually touch upon mental health in women and how for some generations women just didn't know who to go to. But it's beautiful how you tackling mental health, you also bring up the power of friendship, just like through Mirta's stories, which that was probably my favorite part of your book, because we are reading 3 stories at the same time: Abismo de Pasión, Monica's story, and then obviously Mirta's beautiful young love story,
And her best friend.
and her
also.
best friend, which is what I love, what you included as part of Mirta's like journaling, where she says, meeting Teresita was the thing that helped me the most to get out of my depression. And then she says, women need friends. Maybe men don't, but women do. And having her in my life to talk to on the phone, to drink coffee with while the boys drove their carritos, dímelo cantando, just like my mother always had, and that made me happy. And that's exactly
That is
what
so
this
true.
podcast is all about. That's why we've been in that space like Mirta, where many times we felt like we weren't being heard or understood because of all the overwhelming feelings that we get with the parenting, with living with the spouse, going through separations, divorce, or whatnot, right? The
Exactly.
work. Questioning our existence, our purpose. It's so overwhelming that if it weren't for friends, amigas,
Absolutely.
which is why we created this podcast, it really is healing to know that we are not alone. And so I'm so happy that you included that Mirta, despite her very heavy past, she had a friend. And that became her salvation in a way.
That's right. That was
100.
beautiful.
Teresita was crucial to Mirta surviving that time of her life. Yes, 100%. And I wanted that to be very clear in the book. She was so alone. And, you know, even if she didn't have the issues that she was dealing with in terms of her marriage and that young love issue, not to give too much away, just, you know what? Just having a kid is really hard. And for those of us who have more than one child, we know having that second kid or third kid or whatever, I'll never forget my, you know, when we had our second child, my husband came home from work on like, I don't know, day 7, 8 of having 2 kids. He walked in the door and I looked at him and I was holding the newborn and the 2.5-year-old was doing God knows what. And I looked at him and I said, we are not having a third child. He was like, okay.
He got
so
scared.
overwhelmed to have one child, to say nothing of multiple children. And then if you add in what she was dealing with personally with all the whole thing in the background, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
She was so isolated. And I wanted also a picture of what postpartum depression, true postpartum depression looks like. And I think that, one of the ways that she was able to slowly come out of that is through her friendship with Teresita. And also, it should be said, once she was able to talk with Rolando a little bit about what was really going on with her, he became a friend to her in a certain way and helped her out. And that was also, I think, one of the foundational elements of their marriage is that they were friends. Certainly after that, like, it took a bit, right? But I think that's one of the things that happened with Mirta and Rolando is that they became friends over the years, which I find a very interesting thing, especially considering what they went through.
Right.
Which is beautiful, right? I mean, the foundation of any relationship should always be, I think, friendship.
Friendship first.
I mean, friendship first, because passion is going to evolve and maybe die out. Hopefully not, but it will evolve. But friendship should get stronger within the years. And whoever we marry or whoever we decide to live with, it should be our best friend. It should be our best friend because that's the person we're going to grow old with, and that's the person that's going to share our most vulnerable moments, and that's the person that's going to lift us up when we feel down, even though they make us angry sometimes, But in the
that's
end,
part of being a friend,
exactly.
right? You go through the ups, the downs, the many, many, many layers, all of the speed bumps and everything that you go through in your life, just personally, and just going through that, that same road with somebody else that's right by you that you can relate to, that you can talk to, that you have your friend there to talk to.
But love
and get through it.
Love has to be there.
For sure.
Because there was this one line I remember Monica was saying that Robert could be a great father. She could love him being a great father. She could love him being the best son. She could love him being the best, just contributor to society. But she wanted to be in love with the person. And so we need to be in love with the person. And that person for her was Manny. So, it's just love will always be the one thing that will get you.
Even though it's not good for you at times, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. You still fall back on that.
Yeah.
Well, we don't always make the best decisions, right?
That's true.
But there has to be love. Otherwise, it's just a friend. And you just have a roommate.
So do we all love that she... Well, we won't say. We won't say.
No,
we won't say.
We have to because we want to keep giving it away.
We actually have a lot of comadritas that haven't read the book and they're just chiming in and listening to the conversation because they love el chisme. Les gusta el chismecito. But they are saying that they want to pick up the book. How does that make you feel, Tita, knowing that your book is being picked up every day? And your story. I mean, you got to keep on reading. I mean, writing more books.
I'm just so grateful. I can't. That it makes me feel very grateful. I'm very humbled, and I'm so just thankful for anyone's support of this book. It really does take a village. Janet and I spoke earlier today, and we both said it. It takes a village, and if your book is not up there in Times Square on the big thing, whatever, getting advertised to the entire world, it's word of mouth. It's friends telling friends, people posting, people sharing, people inviting me to their book club. I love doing this kind of thing. I've been telling everybody, like, if you have a book club or if your friend has a book club and you guys like to invite authors, even small book clubs, just like, in your neighborhood, in your life or whatever, I'm happy to Zoom in. If you're not local to me, if you, for whatever reason, if there's any North Carolina folks out there, and you would like me to come to your book club, I'd be happy to.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
that's wonderful.
And I'm not chimosa for sure. So
I love it.
And it's been such an honor to have you, Tita. Such an honor to have you. And she is the official madrina.
Yeah,
The official author madrina
of Comadres, Libros, and Lattes.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
And we can't let you go without asking you, have you really read all those books behind you? I mean, I cannot stop staring at all those books behind you. You've read them all.
Every single one of them.
I love it.
See, Jan, that's what we need for you.
I
for
know,
your office.
I know. I need to get those books up there. But
That's
Tita,
right.
thank you so much for joining us. And like you said, it does take a village. And every single person that picks this book up, and now including the Today Show that just featured your book in the morning.
Amazing.
I mean, we knew. We knew what an amazing story this was. And, you know, just, I think, like I said earlier, and I think you would agree, we just want your story to be heard, you know, and it's such a wonderful story. So it doesn't matter how people consume it. Just get your hands on this book. Like it's such a wonderful story. And share. You know, it does take a village, you know, to get these wonderful books out there. And for our book club, you know, for our next book club pick,
Yes.
which we're really excited about too.
Dame más pasión. Quiero más pasión. We want passion.
More cowbell.
Oh, okay. So we're going to announce it October the 1st, our
Okay.
October picks. So stay tuned
That's
for
coming up.
that.
Next Tuesday, no?
I think so.
Yeah.
October
Yeah.
the 1st. Yeah. Yep.
Oh
So
my gosh,
we'll be
exciting.
able to dive into our next book. But it's just like, you know, Tita, you just said, it's like Monica is like a girlfriend, you know, that we just want to know more about. And it's, that's the tough part about ending a book, you know. So again, we're sending you your cortaditos.
All
We
the way
want to
in
know
North
more
Carolina.
about Monica. Yeah. What's going on with her? So
Thank
thank you again,
you.
Tita.
Thank you,
Thank
Tita.
Muchas
you
gracias.
so much for having me. This has been an honor. It has been a pleasure. It has been a blast, just like I knew it would be. I knew as soon as I got your text, I was like, oh my God, I am so excited to do this.
I love it.
And
you,
thank
Tita.
you.
Thank you
Thank you
so
for
much.
sharing our content on your social media. That helps a lot too, that we're
Yes.
collaborating. Thank you. A lot of our subscribers want to know about the next pick. So this is exciting because now they know how it works. A lot of them didn't know that they're just chiming in. They're new subscribers. So yes, at the beginning of the month, we're going to choose a book. And then we have almost an entire month to read it. And hopefully by the end of the month, you know, we'll have the date. We'll share it on our social media and do this again.
Yes.
Right?
That's right. That's
But-
right. We just
exciting.
want to get some more stories to all of you women out there. We know we want to get Latino stories out there. We are going to share a lot of books that are not Latino, that you know that aren't written by Latino authors, that are some wonderful books as well. But our book club picks, we want to, like, you know, get that village behind all of those Latina authors and Latino authors, so we get our stories heard.
I know. Y gracias, comadritas, for joining us in this live. I know that you're all busy, but it means the world to us that you're here connected with us live, real time. Yes, somebody was saying, is this really live? Yes, this is live. It's our second live. Success?
Yes.
We did it.
Success.
We did it.
I
Woo.
hope.
Nos vemos next Tuesday, new episode.
That's
Exciting.
right.
Yes.
Yes.
Should we say what it's all about? Hollywood Secrets.
Yes.
Ooh la
Yes,
la.
people have been wanting to know what are they going to talk about,
Get
when.
to know us a little bit better.
So Hollywood Secrets is coming for next Tuesday, so stay tuned. Gracias, comadritas. Chime in, comments on social media, follow us, subscribe, share. If you missed it, you know, you had to stop halfway, this will live on our YouTube channel. So
That's right.
catch up when you can, and we're going to be right here every Tuesday.
Yay. We
Es
love
todo,
you.
salud.
And subscribe if you haven't done
right.
so. Push that button. Subscribe.
Dímelo cantando.
Cantando.
Mwah.
Bye,
cantando.
Tita.
Adios.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Bye. Good night.
Bye, Tita.
Bye, Tita.
Bye.